The sun was setting over Maple Avenue, casting a golden glow across the quiet suburban street. Everything appeared peaceful, the neatly trimmed lawns, white fences, and calm air of a small American neighborhood. But behind one cracked sidewalk and a chipped white porch, the silence broke with a soft, trembling sob. A little boy stood there, clutching a worn teddy bear, his eyes red from crying. "He hit my grandma," he whispered, his small voice heavy with pain. His name was Ethan, just 6 years old. Dust covered his hoodie from when he had fallen running down the steps. Behind him sat his grandmother, Clara, her blue dress torn at the shoulder, a bruise darkening one side of her face. She tried to hide her pain from him, but she couldn't hide what had happened. In the doorway stood a man, tall, red-faced, half-drunk, gripping a beer bottle. His name was Ray. He wasn't family, only someone who'd promised to help after Clara's husband passed away, but instead brought anger and control. That afternoon, Ethan had run out of the house barefoot, clutching the teddy bear his grandmother had sewn for him years ago. He didn't know where to go, only that someone had to help. His tears fell onto the concrete as he stumbled down the path. Then came a deep, thunderous sound, the growl of engines breaking the stillness. 6 motorcycles turned the corner, gleaming in the sunlight. The leader was a tall man with a salt and pepper beard and tattoos running down his arms. The words Hell's Angels were stitched across the back of his vest. Beneath it, a smaller patch that read RL Chills. His name was Reed, a man whose presence commanded silence. When he saw the crying boy, he stopped his engine, stepped off his bike, and knelt down. "Hey, buddy," he said gently. "What happened?" Ethan pointed toward the porch, toward his grandmother and the man standing above her. Reed's jaw tightened. Memories stirred inside him, memories of the same kind of cruelty he'd once faced as a child. But now he was grown, and he would never let another child cry out of fear. He stood, eyes fixed on Ray, while the other bikers lined up behind him, silent, strong, unflinching. The neighborhood watched from behind curtains. Ray straightened, trying to sound tough. "This ain't your business," he muttered. Reed stepped closer, calm but unstoppable. "It became my business," he said quietly, the moment I heard a child say those words. Ray's bravado faded. His hand shook, the beer bottle lowering. He looked at Clara, then at Ethan, and finally stepped back. Reed didn't need to raise his voice. His presence was enough. "She doesn't need your help anymore," he said. "Pack your things. You're done here." Ray backed up, grabbed his keys, and drove off without another word. The rumble of his truck faded down the street, leaving behind a rare peace. Reed turned to Clara and knelt beside her. "You didn't have to," she whispered. "No one should ever have to live scared," he replied softly. "Not you. Not him." His voice wavered as he looked at Ethan. His men stepped forward, one offering water, another pulling out a first aid kit. Neighbors watched as these so-called dangerous men showed unexpected tenderness, caring for Clara and calling for help. When the ambulance arrived, Reed stayed beside Ethan on the porch steps. The boy finally smiled, a small, fragile smile that made Reed's throat tighten. As the paramedics helped Clara into the vehicle, Ethan hugged Reed's arm tightly. "Thank you," he whispered. Reed nodded silently. When the ambulance left, the bikers mounted their motorcycles again. Before starting his engine, Reed looked once more at the little house, at the boy waving from the porch and the woman safe inside. He didn't speak, but the thought was clear. Sometimes the loudest acts of kindness come from those the world least expects. The engines roared down Maple Avenue, not as a threat but as a promise that kindness still rides wherever it's needed.